Hello and welcome to Fantasy Akhada Presents The Outside View, powered by Fast Enough. And in this special episode, we're gonna predict the World Cup squad of West Indies. Before they travel to New Zealand for the World Cup, West Indies will travel to South Africa for a 4-match ODI series. Now at this point, we don't know who is going to go for the series, but what I can tell you is the team that travels to South Africa will certainly be the team that travels to New Zealand for the World Cup. Having said that, without further ado, let's begin. Firstly, let's talk about the batters. I picked 3 specialist batters for the World Cup. 1 is Rashada Williams, 2 Kishona Knight, and 3 Shideen Nation. Now, firstly talking about these batters, Williams has been opening ever since her debut that happened in 2021. Though runs have come for her, the strike rate has been questioned for a few times, but she should be picked for the World Cup. Next comes Shideen Nation. She batted at number 3 during that World Cup qualifier in Zimbabwe and a few matches around that. I do see her playing a similar kind of role, but we'll know more about the plans and the strategy of West Indies once they go to South Africa for that ODI series I mentioned before. Having said that, there's another player, Kishona Knight. Kishona Knight did not play that qualifier that happened in Zimbabwe, and that was due to some of the low scores that she got before that qualifier. So we might not see her play in the 11, but given her experience, she should be there in that squad flying to New Zealand. Next are the wicket keepers, and we have picked 2, Kezia Knight and Shameen Campbell. Now, Kezia Knight was there in the West Indies squad when Pakistan travelled to West Indies and South Africa travelled to West Indies. She also played the 2 matches in Pakistan. However, a string of low scores saw her out of the team, and Campbell was back in that 11 playing that role as a wicket keeper in that one game in qualifiers. However, I do think both of these players will fly to New Zealand. They might not make it to the 11 together, like only one of them will be playing in the first 11 for West Indies, but I'm pretty sure these 2 players will travel with the squad to New Zealand for the World Cup. Now on to the all-rounders, and this is exactly where the strength of this West Indies team lies. The 3 names that are always there on the team sheet whenever West Indies plays is Stephanie Taylor, the captain, Deanda Doughton and Hayley Matthews. There's a bit of toss-up between Matthews and Doughton for that opener slot. I previously mentioned Rashada Williams, so she is going to be the opener, I believe, as she has done once since her debut. But with her, we saw Matthews for a few matches, and then we saw Doughton come in for the few matches. Matthews didn't do well that much after that 1 century she got in 2021 opening the innings. Hence, West Indies came with Doughton and asked her to open, and she did a fantastic job in that role. In fact, once Matthews was pushed down the order, she got some runs as well. So it will be interesting to see who West Indies go in. Personally, I would want to see both of them opening together, which I think it's going to be a great combination, but it kind of weakens the middle order, I guess. Hence, they want one person to bat at number 4 and the other to open the innings, but both of them together are a great combination. Having said that, then there is obviously Stephanie Taylor, the captain. I mean, what do we say about her that is already not being said? She's an excellent player, and she is going to be the most important player heading into this World Cup without a doubt. For the last 2 spots in that all-rounders category, I've picked Sinead Grimond and Chinelle Henry. Now, one can argue that Grimond is more of a bowler while Henry is more of a batter, but I do see them being effective with both the bat and the ball in the World Cup, and they can provide much more balance to the West Indies team, which it already has with all these all-rounders there. So that will be my all-rounders, 5 of them, and I think that will be excellent to watch during that World Cup. Now let's talk about the spinners, and I have picked only one specialist off spinner in this team, and it's obviously Anisa Mohammed. She has been so excellent for West Indies in the past decade or so. She's so experienced, and I expect her to be the vice captain of this team as well. Apart from her, there is obviously Kiana Joseph, who is a left-arm orthodox spinner.
She used to be a fast bowler previously, but now she has turned into a left arm spinner, and she adds variety to this attack. And she can pair up well with Anisa Mohammed, I believe. While talking about Anisa Mohammed, I did say she is the only specialist off spinner, and the reason why I said that was because this team also has 3 other off spinners, which I previously mentioned in the all-rounders category.
We have Hayley Matthews, we have Stephanie Taylor, we have Grimmond as well. So together these 4 players will form that spin attack at the World Cup. Now that all of them being off spinners doesn't have a lot of variation, but I do believe that these 4 together can form that quality spin attack which West Indies will need in the World Cup.
Now let's talk about the pacers, and I've picked 3 of them: Shamilia Connell, Shakira Selman, and Alia Ellen.
Now, having said that, this attack has a lot of versatility and experienced and youth combined. Selman is a very experienced player, and I see her playing in that first 11 without a doubt. She had a tremendous series in Pakistan where she picked 5 wickets in 3 matches. Ellen is young, and she's young into her international career, so would be exciting to see her as well. And Connell, obviously, Connell is another player who has played around 100 internationals for West Indies, so that is a very good mix of youth and experience for that matter. Apart from them, there is obviously Doughton and Henry. Both of them are medium pacers and together will form that pace attack.
So we have 5 players in this category.
And I think that is a good enough attack going into a World Cup that will be played in New Zealand, where we might see pacers being more effective than the spinners, and West Indies have got the right players for that job, I think. So that was my 15-member squad. Now let's talk about the 3 reserves. I've picked Brittany Cooper as my batting reserve. I have picked Cherry Ann Fraser as my all-round reserve. And I've also picked Karishma RAMHARACK as my spin bowling reserve. I wanted to pick a pace bowling reserve, but then I thought that we have enough pacers in this team already. So having a spinner as a reserve player won't be such a bad decision. Talking about Cooper, who is the batting reserve I mentioned, she hasn't played a ODI match since her injury against South Africa that happened, and that was the series at home. So I think she will go to the World Cup maybe as the reserve player. And obviously Cherry Ann Fraser, she's a young player, and I think she's a good fit to this team. So that would be my 3 reserve players. Totally now that makes 15 and 3 players altogether. So that is the West Indies squad that I have in my mind, and I think that will travel to New Zealand for the World Cup. So that was my predicted squad for West Indies for that ICC Women's World Cup in New Zealand. Do let us know if you agree with this squad, and if we missed out any players, let us know in the comment section below. That's it from my side. We'll catch you up again in the next episode of Fantasy Akhada Presents The Outside View, powered by Fasten Up.